because this isn't going to be a lot of gameplay. I'm just having gameplay in the background. Um, and sorry if my voice sounds kind of nasally. I am very sick at the moment, and by very sick I just mean I have a horribly stuffy nose. But today I want to have a topic to discuss because it's been on my mind for a while since there's been more people playing it. And I want to talk about Man of Medan, or Man of Medan, however you want to pronounce it. If you guys don't know what that is, it's kind of the predecessor, or not predecessor, the successor is what it is. The successor to Until Dawn, which was a game that came out, I want to say about 4 years ago. The game's kind of centered around the gameplay of just having choice and doing quick time events and then making choices with those events to shape your own story. The premise alone is actually pretty fun in my eyes, and I really enjoy those kind of things. But I gotta be honest with you when I say I was very disappointed by Man of Medan. Or I'm gonna call it Man of Medan, fuck it. You guys at this point have to get used to it. Yeah, back to on topic. So I was actually very disappointed with the game in its entirety. Coming from Until Dawn, I had a lot of expectations for the game, and I get right now it's probably in like a beta stage or something, but it still is kind of inexcusable, especially if the game comes out anytime to next year. It'll be a goddamn shame. Ooh. But another issue I had with the game mostly was, or not our issue, an issue I had with the game was there was a lot of, it felt like lazy in a way, like they just kind of wanted to pump out a game and they didn't have a good way of doing it, so they kind of just went to do this route. The plot of Man of Medan is that, oh fuck, it's a group of people that go on a ship to go scuba diving, and they end up finding this wreck of this old ship, and there's more to it. It's more like a scary plot, and it's not too bad of a plot, all things considered. I'll be honest with you, I was actually pretty like hyped to see where the plot was going to go. But man, did it sell short on anything it was supposed to deliver on that. I'm trying to like think. I might probably just have gameplay in the background, me not playing because I can't concentrate and play. So I'm sorry. Just wait through this. I'm sorry. This is such poor streaming. But I also really want these skins, so. Alright, so I can talk now. So, where was I? I was on, oh yeah, it's story. So the story is really bad. The game starts off in like a World War II like Navy ship, and it's the ship that we eventually get to in the main story, but it starts off in this ship, and it's these two soldier dudes, and immediately you know the game's gonna be bad when we hear these guys talk. I don't know what was wrong with the voice acting, if they just hired some random dudes off the street, or if this was like a last-second addition, but the voice acting is really poor for no reason. Like, it's laughably bad, and I don't know if it's a parody, if like they're trying to make fun of the horror movie trope, but it's just really bad. It's just shameful, honestly. So immediately this becomes a huge issue. And this is actually an issue that does not get resolved throughout the rest of the game. Voice acting is a huge issue in this game. The characters have moments where they just say and do shit for no reason. And this comes up to my next point, which is facial expressions. Until Dawn wasn't the master, wasn't the goddamn guru of facial, recognition. Recognition I think is what it was, when they capture faces and shit. But it wasn't the guru of that, it wasn't the greatest. But it still had decent faces, time to time. Man of Medan is so laughably bad. It feels like this game came first before Until Dawn. Like, that's how bad the facial expressions get. The girl character, I don't even remember her name, I just watched the video, that's how unfucking remarkable these characters are. She makes weird expressions literally every goddamn minute, and they're so fucking hilarious because they're just so goofy. It's not a face a human being would make. I'm just gonna go to the menu so I can have actual gameplay playing in the background. But, ooh, Brutality Day. But yeah, so it's just really poor. the voice acting, the facial expressions, and then we get to the characters. Again, Until Dawn isn't the greatest at this, but Until Dawn had characters that you could kind of feel a little something for. Like, they didn't feel real, but they didn't feel too fake. The guys in Man of Medan just don't feel real. They feel super forced and cliche. And again, I know Until Dawn had a lot of cliches, but it's a goddamn horror game. It tries to be a horror game. Man of Medan did not. It feels like they tried to not make a cliche. They tried to make multi-dimensional characters, and they just can't do it. It's so fucking bad, it's funny. And then another huge issue, besides all these things, is the story. So this is going to be spoilers for anyone that actually wants to get into Man of Medan. You can get into it. Note that this comes out, I think, September, I want to say 11th or so, around that day. So if they do have to change stuff past this point, it's September 11th, 2019, if I'm correct. Gotta check my phone. September 10th. So yeah, so it's September 10th, 2019. So if they do have to change things after this point, this video becomes null. I'll probably take it down, but for the meantime, I'm gonna criticize. And I don't really have, the craziest rights to be doing this. I'm not a goddamn video game creator, but to go from one extreme to the end is pretty drastic, and the company just, I don't know what the fuck happened. So the main plot twist that we find out in the game is that the toxin that the World War II like ship is carrying it's more like a nerve toxin. Like, it just kind of fucks with what you see. It doesn't really like release monsters or anything. And this is honestly a huge issue in storytelling to me, because Until Dawn had the Wendigo, and I'm not really gonna do a spoiler warning for that, because honestly, if you're watching this video, and I mean, like, the game's fucking old, come on. I can't be showing that. But yeah, so the story's about Wendigo and like a murder thing, like there's a murder on the loose. And having the actual threat of a real monster, in my opinion, is better than a fucking monster in your head. Because the monster in your head creates two fucking things. It just creates jump scares and weird moments. I'm gonna be honest with you, I haven't played the game. I've watched gameplay, and I've watched it from multiple people. But the reason I don't like the trope, or not the trope, but this concept, is because it makes the game really just whatever. The first playthrough I watched, and I'm going to do a quick shout, Markiplier, I watched him play for a first episode. And right when we got to the point where the dude dies, I instantly said, that's a fucking, like, I just thought, I was like, that's a fucking thing that just makes you, it just freaks you out. It literally doesn't make monsters. Because it was obvious. And the issue with this being obvious is that once you realize that this is the truth, it literally makes any interaction past this point not worth it. It makes every interaction, like, anytime like a scary monster shows up, I instantly am like, oh, that's just one of our people. You don't feel any real tension besides the beginning with the robbers, the pirates. Which is bad. Until Dawn, having the Wendigo made a constant threat. And it was a fun constant threat. Even before the Wendigo, we had the threat of this serial killer dude, who ends up being Josh. But the point is that we have a constant threat, and there's no telling that this is a fake threat. Immediately in Man of Medan, you could kind of tell that this isn't what it seems to be, and it's bad because of it. Another big issue of Man of Medan as well is that again, I don't know if it's a beta. I'll have to look into it more. But the game's fucking unfinished. I watched recently the multiple endings, and there's a lot of endings where like it's the same cutscene. What makes Until Dawn great, in my opinion, is that although you can't control everyone's fate in certain ways, like the two main characters. I only remember the boy's name is Mike. The boy and the girl, although you can't really control their fate till the very end, you still can control everyone's fate, and it does great in the storytelling aspect. They cannot die. If they die, the story it's gone, because they're the heroes. That makes sense. I feel like Man of Medan tries to make everyone a hero, and that's really bad, because when everyone's your hero, and everyone can die, it makes weird cutscene anomalies. In the end of the game, so I forget I think the little brother's name is Brad, and then the older brother's Alex in Poo of Medan. Brad can die, and immediately after Brad's death, it goes to the end of the game cutscene where Alex hugs Fliss, which is also really weird that he hugs Fliss of all people. Like, I know, you probably, if you watch the Tio video, you probably are like, oh, he's just copying what Tio said, but in all truth, though, it is really strange that that's even a fucking, like, the way they did that cutscene. They have not really any relation. The cutscene stays the same regardless of Brad's death, and that's super bad. What makes Until Dawn great is that because the main characters are really important and the non-main characters aren't important, you can kill off a character and the scene doesn't change significantly. The only difference is that there's a new character in the shot. A great example is the ending of Until Dawn, where we get the Wendigo showdown and everyone's in the house trying to escape, but they can't move or else the Wendigo finds them. This is a really great scene in my opinion because, one, you don't need any other character. Every character could die before this point besides the main two, and it's the same fucking scene. It legitimately is the same exact scene regardless of who you save in the scene, besides people running out the house. And that's good, because then it makes sense in the storytelling aspect. If they die, you could kill off everyone in both games. I haven't really fucking bothered to check into what if you kill everyone in the other one, in Man Down. But Until Dawn, if you kill off everyone, there's different, like, endings, like, they people talking shit. And Man Down's just so fucking weird with it. It really is. The way they just structure the characters and how important they are is bad. It really is really bad. Another huge issue, and this kind of stems from another, pardon me, another Until Dawn thing, is that the premonitions were really, like, not obvious, but they kind of, like, gave you a hint, and a useful one. The only premonition I even remember seeing is the first one that you get, the one with, Conrad, I think, is, the guy is about to shoot Conrad as he gets on the boat. And I literally don't like that, because in Until Dawn, the way the premonitions worked is that they kind of told you what not to do to avoid a character's death. And I get in a way that this, because regardless of what you choose here, fucking Conrad's dead. He either comes back later and dies because he goes crazy on the boat, or he just dies to the gunshot. But that's so bad, like, at least in Until Dawn, if you saw a death, it was like, that's a death, and like, that's a certain death. He doesn't get off and then gets another secret death, that's just death. You know, premonitions were a huge thing. And it also comes just from the multiple characters. In Until Dawn, there's a shit ton of characters. So you can kill off a shit ton of the cast without it feeling weird. But you can't do that in fucking whatchamacallit, in Man Medan, because the cast is so laughably fucking small. There's like 4 to 5 characters, I think. Yeah, there's 5 characters, and then like the 3 pirates, which is just super weird. Like, because why would you even want to keep the pirates alive in a logical standpoint? But, you know, I digress, if you want to have your completionist run. The only reason I decided to make this video, I'll be honest, is that I was super disappointed, and because again, I'm a huge fan of the original Until Dawn. Like, that game, when that shit came out, that shit was making me nut, like, how great it was. It's not, like, great in the sense of, like, it's gonna have you captivated for fucking years. It probably has a month playthroughs for 2 weeks, and then you get bored of it really quickly, and even probably less than that, but the point is that it had a cool story, and I always loved making a choice. That's why I loved Corpse Party. That's why I liked the whatchamacallit game. Because they give you a choice to make, and that's really fun. That's actually really cool. And Until Dawn did that, and it did it well. You make choices, and all your choices matter. A really fun one, in my opinion, is the scene where Chris and Ashley are going to get killed by the murderer. They don't actually get killed, but Chris has a choice to kill himself or kill Ashley, and whoever he kills, the other one will be let go. If you choose Ashley in this scene, you actually end up killing Chris off later in the game, because when he's coming back from a Wendigo attack, she'll keep the door locked on him. And that's a really fun choice, in my opinion, Because it's so fucking devilishly brutal, and that choice mattered. And it's a fun bad ending. A bad ending I don't really find fun is the Conrad escapes ending. It's not necessarily a bad ending, like him getting shot. But in my opinion, it's just so... It's done poorly. Like, let's say you got everyone off, and then you think, oh, I got Conrad out, because he escaped early, and he comes back and fucking dies. Like, what's the point if you'll literally die in either ending? Choosing the boat is a shitty option. It honestly is. It's such a shitty option. Another issue I have is that they try to copy the whole psychiatrist in Josh's mind thing for the storyteller. And it's, again, done super poorly. That was cool because not only A, did that ask questions, and the questions he asked ended up coming up in the game, but the reveal was super fucking mind-blowing. Whereas this reveal wasn't. It was the opposite. And again, I think this is just the beta, but this is just my quick opinion, and it probably wasn't quick, it probably took 20 minutes, but this is just my opinion on Man of Medan, and kind of why people are shitting on it. You don't need to be a fucking expert to find out why, but it's good so for people to wonder and not get confused as to why a game like this, which has been waited for a while, has kind of gotten received super poorly. Like, the only cool aspect of Man of Medan, before I end this video, is that the multiplayer aspect I actually really like. I feel like if they put way more effort into this game, that could have been a really cool thing. But it doesn't really have that much effort, so the game feels unfinished. There's a bunch of weird things that happen in different endings, continuity errors, characters are unlikable, just the whole fucking shebang. They probably will never fucking watch this. I doubt they ever will. But to the fucking people who made Man of Medan and Until Dawn, get your shit together, man. You have a really good fucking game, like, idea, and you've got the market on that shit. Not the market, but you got the mainstream market, you know? You can release a game and people will come to it. So do it right, don't do this again, because this is just so poor. It's, like, sad how bad this game ended up being. Because, again, I was really fucking hyped. Like, this shit was super hype. I heard about this shit and I was crying of how hype I was. But, yeah, that's it. We'll see you next time, boys.